Hi guys, my name is Tanya and welcome back to my channel Project Podium. We have Miraj with us today, who you all saw last year. We did a bunch of videos on all the Grand Slams. So thank you so much for being here. We also have Harish with us today, who I actually connected with on Instagram because of tennis. And today we're talking about tennis, which is so cool. So thank you so much for doing this and we are so happy to have you.
Pleasure being here, Tanya, and hi, Miraj. Yeah, always happy to talk about tennis. I think tennis, I try to occupy as much as I can in my life. So always happy to talk more about tennis.
So before we get into what has happened in the quarterfinals, I want to ask you all both, what expectations did you all have from Australian Open initial rounds, and did it live up to it?
Expectations wise, it more or less did go the way I personally expected it to go. Because if last year was anything to go by, it was all going to be dominated by Sinner and Alcaraz, right? And that is exactly what has happened this time around. Also, the difference from last year to this year is that there have been no major upsets as such. So, I don't know, it has happened like so many years later in the Open era that top six seeds have qualified in the quarterfinals for the first time in I don't know how many years. And in the women's section, that's happened like for the first time in the Open era. Just because the results are more or less predictable does not mean that the tennis was of any low quality on either of the opponents, be it Sinner or his opponents, or Alcaraz and his opponent.
What about you, Harish? What do you think about it?
Sinner Alcaraz, like everybody expected, have been the headliners on the men's side, and they've sort of lived up to their kind of billing so far. And hopefully, we'll have another Sinner Alcaraz final. That'll be really exciting to watch. On the women's
Yeah.
side, again, I think a lot of the top players did get to the quarterfinals. There was Iga Swiatek, there was Arina Sabalenka, Coco Gauff. These three, Alina Rybakina, they're the ones who've been kind of very consistent in the slams in the last couple of seasons, and they all forgot there. So I think on the women's side, it's been a little predictable, but also a few good surprises coming along.
I like see your Instagram. You're following like Indian tennis players also, and you're seeing what's happening in Australian Open with the Indians as well, which is so cool.
Yeah, I do actually. I do post a lot about Indian tennis because I think there's not too many platforms that post about Indian tennis results, and I keep looking for scores. And I thought there must be others looking for scores about Indian tennis players, so I thought I should just keep posting about it. And
So, which Indians are you like really looking forward to? Who do you think has really performed well in all the tournaments that you've seen in the past, like maybe 1 year?
I think in doubles, Yuki Bamri has done really well. He's almost close to the top 20 now. Depending on how the others play out in the rest of the tournament in doubles, he might end up in the top 20 next week. So he's been doing great in doubles. On the women's side, I think I was really excited about Maya Rajeshwaran Revati after her run in Mumbai last year. I was at the tournament since based in Mumbai. Was very impressed with the game. Obviously, I don't think she was expected to replicate that every tournament. Some people did, which is unrealistic. But I think it's taken her a bit of a while. She's still 16, she's young. I think she's got a
Yeah.
lot of potential on the women's side. There are a bunch of doubles players. I think not many people know that. I think we have 11 players in the top 115 doubles in the world, which is a great statistic. On the men's side, Manas Dhamne has been being kind of progressing slowly. He's in the top 500 now. Sumit had unfortunately not a great year, but he's kind of playing well again the last couple of months. Yeah, a lot, and there's a lot of tennis in India. I think Jan Feb has been packed with tournaments across India, which is great for
Yeah.
fans. Yeah.
Yeah. Talking about the Australian Open, like the first four rounds were kind of predictable. So I want to ask you guys, what, according to you, was like a standout player that has not made it to the quarterfinals?
The one I thought who did really well and but did not make it, I thought was Zeynep Sonmez on the women's side. She came through the qualifying. She won 3 rounds there, won a couple of rounds in the main draw. And the Turkish fans were really, I think it was a really feel good story because she's kind of the first player from Turkey to do so well at this stage at the Grand Slam. I was actually had the good fortune of being in Melbourne last 2 weeks. So I saw some of the matches there, the first week of matches and the qualifying matches. And the crowd was really like the her matches, they were packed and they had Turkish flags all around. The fans created a great atmosphere, and she lost a very close match in the third round. So I think that was a great story.
On the men's side, although this person was not expected to go through, but again, it would have been a very beautiful story if he did, was Stan Wawrinka, because he's playing his last Grand Slam. He's age 40, right? And so the very reason I feel that he is in the Australian Open, or of course, one is to compete and to win, but also it is just a culmination of such an illustrious career, right? So to some people, he always has been coming from, he always has been in the shadow of Roger Federer, but even as an individual, he is an amazing player. One would think, if you think very technically about tennis, that Taylor Fritz was always going to be a stone too far for him to breach, right? And his backhand is always going to be cherished.
What do you guys think about Lerner TM?
I was actually going to come to him. Like I was just going through the draw of who all did not make it, and I think that was a great one. I think this is the first time I've seen him play a proper match. Like I saw a lot of his matches. I've seen a few points here and there, but I was seeing a couple of his matches this week, and he really does play with a lot of variety, with a lot of angles, not just hitting the ball with a lot of power, but also just a lot of creativity, which was very impressive. And I think he's working with Michael Chang now during the off season. That's great to have a former champion like that in his corner. So, and the one thing I saw was a lot of the other players were impressed about him. Daniel Medvedev and Alexander Zverev. He beat Medvedev and he lost to Zverev, but both of them had very nice and complimentary things to say about his game. Yeah, which is great. So I think I really enjoyed him as well in the first week.
So the thing about Leonard Tien, Harish, and beautiful point there about Medvedev and Zverev both. But he's beaten Medvedev back in the Australian Open last year, right? That was a five-set marathon. I don't know, and we'll come to him, I'm sure, but I don't know what's been going wrong with Medvedev. A cameraman interrupted him, and Benjamin Bonzi has his number, right? Twice last year has Benjamin Bonzi defeated Medvedev. So I really don't know what's up with Medvedev. But coming back to Leonard Tien, I feel, Leonard Tien probably just hit a roadblock when he faced Zverev, right? Because Zverev has arguably the best backhand on tour. Right? It's not Sinner, it's not Alcaraz, it has to be Zverev. The kind of depth and the spin he gets with that left hand, technically and properly going through the ball, as we call it. And one more interesting fact was that around in the last around 20 games, Zverev had lost only one game to a left-handed player, and that one game was Leonard Tien. So Zverev had a point to prove against him, and he did.
But talking about Medvedev, do you think his time has come?
You mean his time is up? I I don't think he'll be as consistent as he was in those few years, but I still feel he'll have a couple of deep runs left in himself. I don't think he's I still feel that he's going to have a couple of deep runs in the next, maybe like once a year or something like that, but he'll still be around, I feel, in the top 15, closer to like the 10 to 15 range. I don't see him dropping off very low, like in the 40s or out of the top 100. I feel he'll still be a top player and probably in a few tournaments and over the next few years, he'll still go deep and probably have a good run. Yep.
Again, I agree. I completely agree. A semis here, a quarters there, a maybe a very wild run and a final year. And I'm not just talking Grand Slam as well. I'm also talking ATP 1000s, ATP 500s, all sorts of that. But for him to win something of substance that is essentially a Grand Slam is I think not going to happen anymore for him.
What are you guys thinking about tennis these days? Like we've seen Sinner and Alcaraz literally eat everyone on court and winning and like meeting at every final. Do you think somewhere it's affecting tennis in general? Like, are we getting bored?
I'm not.
Even I'm not.
No, no, but I feel like it's interesting to watch them play in the first few rounds. Although you think they're going to win, but it's just great tennis to watch. And I think that just the whole build up to the fact that they might reach another final, and kind of reach there and play another kind of chapter in their rivalry is kind of exciting. I think it also brings a lot of new fans, or it makes the sport, I feel, a little bigger than what it was. Because, like for example, the French Open final, people who did not follow tennis were talking about that match. So that kind of elevates the whole sport. So I think their rivalry will probably, if they keep it up, it'll go down like Bog McEnroe, Ever Navratilova, Federer, Nadal Djokovic. So I feel that way that helps the sport, and it's great. It's great to watch. I mean, I don't mind one or two boring matches early on if I'm going to get a five-set final between the two of them.
For me, it's like I want someone, like I'm pretty new to tennis, I won't lie, but I feel like there has to be like someone challenging them because I feel there's so much build up and you're investing so much time. And before the tournament starts, in the end, it's going to be Alcaraz and Sinner.
In the past, that player happened to be Djokovic, right? The way he came onto the scene between Federer and Nadal, and then he snatched a few Grand Slams off of them.
Exactly.
But that was a completely different skill level. Now, even at what is his 38, 36, 38, he is playing such good tennis. I don't see anyone of this age. For example, we were talking so highly about Joao Fonseca last year. What happened to him this year, right? He got eliminated in what, the first or the second round. So consistency is a very big issue in the players these days, and that's the one of the main reasons why Sinner and Alcaraz stand out, because they have been doing this year on year without any drop in their form.
Who do you think from the current era is going to be the number third who challenges both of them?
Peace, wherever I feel.
I hope not.
Who else then?
I think Jack
Maybe
Draper,
Ben
if he's
Shelton.
fit, Jack Draper, if he's fit, if he remains healthy, is one
Fitness is a
young
big
player
issue
who I
with
really
Jack
like.
Draper, and that's the only reason why I did not go for Jack Draper, because he has been in and out. Even in the Wimbledon last year, he pulled out because of fitness reasons,
Yeah,
right?
What do y'all think about Ben Shelton?
I think he's great. I think everybody was hoping by this point he would have kind of cracked it and taken it to the next level in terms of reaching a final or winning a Grand Slam. But I think he's sort of not made that shift yet. I mean, he's still young. He's got a lot of time. But he's played, I think, maybe Sinner Alcaraz a few times and not been able to get to a Grand Slam final or win a title. I think that the longer it goes on, it just becomes a bigger weight to carry around, especially being the top American, one of the top American players. He probably looks like he's going to win one slam at least. Deserves to. Yeah, and I hope it's at the US Open. That'll be fun. I was very impressed with no, I mean just off this thing, but early round, but Venus Williams at 45 playing, taking a wild card, almost winning. She was up 4 love in the third set. I thought that was another like I was really rooting for her to win. I think everybody was rooting for her to win. So
Of course.
um, and the fact that she's kind of saying that she wants to play a little more consistent schedule, I think it's just great to see her at 45. Define the norms of what a retirement of a Grand Slam champion and number one player should be like, and doing it her own way. I think that's just great to watch. And the fact that she's enjoying it but being competitive and having fun along the way, although
Yeah.
she's losing quite often, it just shows. I think it's different from where the other players have kind of
Hmm.
exited their careers.
Sorry, the match yesterday, the Djokovic and Musetti match, which was so heartbreaking for me. I mean, how much ever I want Djokovic in the semifinals, that was a Musetti game.
Was, and that reminded me of Dimitrov Sinner game in Wimbledon last year.
Yeah, that's why I said Sinner in the start first, because I totally got confused between the
Yeah,
two
because
games.
there are some things that are beyond your control, and this one is one of them, right? Because there was no way, and even Djokovic was generous enough to admit that he was on his way back home, and truthfully so. There was nothing that
Yeah.
Djokovic was doing was working for him, and Musetti was playing on a different level altogether. But to have this injury in the third set, right, when he was just one set away.
I think after watching him play, he really has a great game to watch in terms of his the way he hits a one-handed backhand, the way he slices and moves his players around the court. It's a lot of fun to watch, and he was playing really well. I didn't see the full 2 sets, but I saw kind of maybe half of the match, and he was playing really well. So again, just to go out in that way, I think nobody likes it unless it's your favorite player. I think Djokovic, no fan would be happy, but everybody else is probably not very happy about that.
Sinner and Djokovic would be, I feel, more physically demanding for Djokovic, because he have the legs now, going so deep into this tournament at the age that he is. I don't know, and it's left to see. But Sinner is someone who is going to drain Djokovic down, just the way Djokovic did with other players in the past, right? He grew onto the game.
Yeah, I was saying I think Sinner Djokovic would probably be a little more one-sided than Zverev and Alcaraz for me. Alcaraz and Zverev are 6 all in the head-to-head. Zverev has beaten him twice in Grand Slams and lost twice in Grand Slams, so it's pretty close. I think I'm going to go out and say that as much as I want to see Alcaraz Sinner, I think I'm going to say that Zverev will beat Alcaraz tomorrow.
Okay, that
And
is
I
crazy.
have done this mistake on this channel. You don't want to do it. Trust me when I say that.
So, do you think that in this Zverev and Carlos match, is Carlos dropping a set because he hasn't yet?
I think he's dropping the mat. I'm obviously saying yes.
A very interesting question, Phil. If we remove Alcaraz and Sinner from the tournament, who are the two guys you would want to see in the final? And apart from Djokovic as well.
Wawrinka
Yeah.
is one, I think. I think Wawrinka and Casper Ruud for me.
Oh my
Casper Ruud.
God, yeah,
Wow.
Casper Ruud. Totally
I
forgot
like
about
him,
Casper
and I know he's
Ruud.
not. I know like I think I don't know. I just like him as a player, as a person. So it'd be fun to watch Wawrinka and Casper Ruud battle it out for a title. That's my like
Yeah,
fantasy final.
yeah. What happened to Casper Ruud, man? Even I like him, but
He's
isn't it?
having a baby, so probably was distracted a bit. Like his wife is going to go into labor anytime these days, so maybe he was a bit distracted.
Arthur Rindignest to play a final. And Stan Wawrinka would have been my second pick.
Honestly, for me, I'm gonna go like very crazy. For me, it would be Tommy Paul and Jack Draper if Jack Draper was
These
there.
reasons.
Is
Because
Tommy
I'm
Paul
a
because of
huge
his game
fan
or
of
because
both
of
of
his looks
them.
for you?
Looks.
Yeah. I just love both of them, and seeing both of them play tennis together would be like a heart attack for me. Because you guys have picked the best ones. I would love that match. But Tommy Paul and Jack Draper, yeah, that would be insane.
I think Tommy Paul has been voted, I think, the most good-looking man on the tour by a lot of
Yeah.
people.
But Tommy Paul has some swag for
You
sure.
know
Like
that
the
Jack
style.
Draper, the side fact is that he actually has a modeling kind of gig as well. He's represented by an agency for modeling.
Yeah, he is.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's cool, I think.
Yeah. Talking about the women, which has been a little more exciting for me personally than men because men was a little predictable. What do you guys think about the women tennis? And what has been the most upsetting upset, which we know who it is, but what happened there?
I think, yeah, that was a great match that Svitolina played. She played really aggressive, I thought. She was, from the start, she was like really focused, really disciplined with her shots, did not let up at all, even when she had a one set lead. The second set, in the early part of the second set, I think there was a little few games that were close, but she kind of kept the pressure on. Kokokov obviously did not have her best day. A lot of errors. Her serve was not working as well. Probably the scoreline also was a little more surprising because Kokokov generally when she loses also it goes kind of a lot closer than like a 6-1, 6-2 scoreline. That was kind of I think more surprising than the loss itself. But I feel it's a great story for Svitolina to kind of come back after her giving birth to her daughter. This is the second Grand Slam semi-final. She's back in the top 10 now. And it's always fun to see her and Gail Monfils, the way they interact and the way they are with each other. I think it's great, for tennis as a fan. And given the context of everything that's happening in Ukraine, I think the way she's kind of always talking about how much she wants to give some joy to her country or something, some positive news to her country. I think it's just great to see her in the semis.
What do you think is happening in the semis, and who do you think is going in the final?
So Elina Svitolina is playing Sabalenka. I feel that uh, that's going to be again a roadblock for Svitolina because Sabalenka, the form that she is in, I am backing her to go. And the second semis is between Jessica Pegula and Elena Rybakina. Now, Jessica Pegula won against Anisimova, and that was also a straight set victory, which was not exactly an upset, but it was more one-sided than I thought it would be. So for this one, I think that Jessica Pegula to go through to the final.
And who do you think is coming out as a champion of the US Open?
Sabalenka.
I think Sabalenka, but I hope Pegula.
For Harish, who's
Definitely.
coming?
I
Zverev
feel
or
Sinner's going to beat Zverev. So that's
yeah.
Zverev is my pick, right? So Sinner's going to beat Zverev in the final is my prediction.
Okay, thank you so much for coming, though. It was a great chat, and we hope to chat with you again, Harish. It would be nice to have you and talk tennis because it was a very fun chat.
Sure, anytime. It was great talking as well. And yeah, very interesting to hear other people's views on tennis as well. And happy to be back anytime.
Tomorrow the semi, so let's see what happens and let us know about your expectations in the comments below. And thank you so much, and we will see you very, very soon.